If I asked 100 expert gardeners what's the single most important input for growing plants, 99% of them would be wrong. Most of them would say soil or sunlight, and some might even say nutrients as the first most important, and those are absolutely imperative. However, they're not more important than the number one most important input for plants. That's right, water. So why is soil not the most important? Plants can grow without soil. We'll see right behind me. I'll grab a plant and show you. Here we have aquatic plants floating on the surface of the pond. Absolutely no soil, but getting the nutrients they need to grow. Now, light is super important for plant growth. It actually can't grow without light to some extent. However, we can use artificial lights, and so that's why I'm putting water slightly above sunlight in terms of importance. Now, nutrients are mandatory for plant health, especially because it can't produce its own. What it can produce is sugars, carbohydrates, from photosynthesis. But here's the catch, and the part that most gardeners, even expert gardeners, don't realize, is that nutrients cannot be absorbed into the plant unless it's in solution, meaning there's a nutrient that's dissolved in water that the plant can then uptake through the root hair. Without that, you can put all of the dry nutrients you want on plants, and if there's no water to soak it in and to bring it into the actual root hair, it's completely useless. And this is why we cannot let plants ever get completely dry, whether it's in a pot or in the ground. And this is what happens. At best case scenario, the plant gets stunted. Worst case scenario, it dies completely. Absolutely needs water in order to transfer those nutrients into the plant. Now here I have this jabuticaba seedling. This is a Brazilian grape tree. I've had it in this small pot for way too long. It has completely dried out. Let me take it out and show you. You can see that here. It's almost completely dry. And so there's no nutrient absorption happening. Luckily, it's not dead, it's just stunted. It will not grow anymore. One of the reasons is because there's not enough soil in order to retain moisture, even though I'm watering it just as often as this jaboticaba right here. The fact that there's wall on this pot all around and heat and air is reaching this, is drying this out. It doesn't allow the water to be retained in the soil for long enough. And so that's a major problem. This plant needs to be up potted right away to a much larger pot. And when that happens, combined with the right pH of the water, forget the nutrients, just that alone will allow the plant to go back into a growth phase and will thrive again. Now conversely, let's look at this jaboticaba. Same type of plant. This one's a little bit of a different variety. This is a yellow variety, a little bit more rare. But let's look at the plant. First, this is the middle of January, actually the end of January we're at right now, so the middle of winter, and look at all the new growth that's happening on this plant. It is very, very happy. So I'm gonna take a little bit of soil and show you the difference. Check this out. This is what we should be seeing. The ability for soil to retain its shape and then to break apart easily. So that's one of the main reasons that this plant is doing so much better. I'm still using the same water, the water actually from my ponds that are inside my greenhouse, which are fertilized by fish waste. And that's gonna be a whole nother video. I'm gonna show you guys all about that setup. But this is getting the same water and it's getting the same light. So what's the difference here? We have a different volume of soil here that's able to retain more moisture, more water, and give the plant the ideal conditions to absorb the nutrients that are already present in the soil. Forget about adding more nutrients. We'll get to that at another time. But the moisture alone in here is the perfect conditions for this plant to be thriving in the middle of winter. So we've talked about nutrients and the inability of plants to take up nutrients themselves without water being present. But how is the nutrients getting there in the first place? I'm a big proponent of no fertilizer. At my nursery here, we don't add any fertilizer per se. We add amendments, but they're all natural based. And I get this argument all the time from people saying, oh, we're growing crops and we need to replace the nutrients that we're taking out of the ground and stuff. Well, parent material in the ground already has a lot of nutrients. The parent material, meaning the sands and the quartz and different types of aggregate. How does that get released into the soil? The most important part of this conversation with moisture that we haven't mentioned yet is the life, the biology in the soil. And that is something that we call microbes, soil microbiology. So these soil microbes can be found in all soils all over the planet, but they can either be in abundance and thriving, or they can be barely there at all or dormant based on the conditions that are going on in that soil at the moment. And all soil biology needs moisture. So think about it as the same as our bodies. We learned very young in school that we need water as essential for our bodies. Same thing for any life on Earth. And these microbes are very, very sensitive to the amount of moisture. In fact, if there's too much moisture, then we actually go down into a negative as well. We develop conditions called anaerobic, meaning without oxygen. So we don't want to create anaerobic conditions for our microbes in the soil, because then the wrong microbes, the wrong types of anaerobe bacteria will form. And when that happens, they actually produce alcohols and things that are negative towards the plant roots. So we don't want that. And there's exceptions to those rules. And the exceptions would be aquatic plants or bog plants and things like that. So barring that for a moment, we want to create the correct amount of moisture in the soil for these microbes to thrive in. So now that we've learned about why water and soil moisture is so important for plants, there's one more level of complexity that I want to get into. A little bit of a danger, if you will, about water with your plants. So as we talked about this Jaboticaba from earlier in the video, we saw that this moisture in the soil is basically non-existent. It's completely dried out. So now let's say, okay, we realized that the plant, no harm done, the plant's not dead, let's water it and get it back into place. Let's say we don't uppot it yet to anything bigger, and we try to water the plant. And this only happens if it's super, super dry. Something kind of interesting happens. We water, and we think we're good. Well, the problem becomes this soil has become dry for so long that it becomes hydrophobic. That means afraid of water. So think about a sponge that's on your countertop, a brand new sponge that you haven't used or one you haven't used for a long time, and you wet it under the sink, but you don't squeeze it. Well, it doesn't absorb any of the water. It looks like it's wet from the surface on the top, but none of that moisture is actually getting into the soil or the root hairs themselves. And this creates a real problem. You're going to have stunting of, at the best case scenario, you're going to be stunted. But worst case scenario, this will eventually kill the plant because it really will not get the moisture that it needs. And it will not encourage the roots to grow down deep. We want the roots to be encouraged to grow down as deep as possible, especially in the ground. And the pot is important, but it's easy to get root bound in the pot. We want those roots to grow really deep into the soil. That makes a more robust plant, more resilient, higher immune system, and more stable to winds. That is super important for the plant to thrive. You also have other conditions underneath the soil. Temperature is more regulated the deeper the roots go, and so forth. So hydrophobic soils are very bad, and we want to make sure that whether our plants are in pots or whether they're in the ground, that they never repel moisture. So that's why a regular watering schedule has to be imperative to your maintenance for plants. Now, in order to get this plant back to health here, we would have to do a little bit of squeezing, massaging here, being very careful not to damage the roots, and then we would uppot it into a larger pot. That would allow the moisture to get down into the roots and allow this plant to rebound. Now there's going to be more things that we would have to do. I would add organic matter, probably worm castings, and maybe some of my goat manure, and then I'd be watering with my pond water here and making sure the pH of that water was exactly where I want it to be, and I'll cover that in another video. That's how we would get that plant back to being very productive and growing in a healthy way. Now, all of this might sound a little bit intimidating. Oh, how do we keep the perfect moisture levels in the soil so that the plants can absorb nutrients and so that the microbes can thrive and cycle nutrients for the plant? But there's good news, is that when we build the soil the right way, the moisture just follows suit. We don't have to do anything. So this is one of my gardens that I have in my property here. And one of the ways that we like to plant is we build on berms. So we plant in these raised linear fashions of very, very good soil biology, and then we actually use a pretty thick layer of mulch. And I don't water at all. Even though I have some irrigation here, this was just to get the plants established. I'm not running any irrigation. In fact, I don't want to run any irrigation on these trees because this is hooked up to my well, and my well has super high pH. It's like 7.6 on the pH scale, and that is not ideal for plants. So I'd much rather this just be watered through rainwater and say, oh, but what if it doesn't rain? Actually, we're in Florida and there's not that much rain in the winter here. So, but I don't worry about it. You know why? And I'm going to show you. Look at the soil that's here right now. This soil is just super moist once we get past the top dry layer. And you can see here's some roots, right? Let's take a look at that. But there's moisture all the way down in here. And so that is just going to be great for that plant. We don't have to worry about watering it. And you can see there's all this new growth that's ready to just pop and go crazy. So very, very little insect damage. In another video, we're going to cover what the plants need in order to avoid insects or to have insects not be interested in the plant. But today we're just talking about moisture. Here's the point. When we have enough organic matter in the soil, then there's a ton of retention of moisture. When we have just sandy soils, just like a lot of our native soils here in Florida, the native plants can handle that. But when we're trying to produce plants that produce food, then we have a different scenario because they're not native to this type of soil. So we have to replicate some of the conditions that those plants are used to growing in. So as we add organic matter to the soil, and what's that organic matter? We like to use compost. So compost, worm castings, and then we have some goats that are in the background over here that you might be able to see. So we use some of their waste, and that organic matter is broken down by the soil microbes, and the moisture is actually able to cling to that organic matter and stays in the soil media rather than too much sand, let's say, and it just runs right through and dries out. We want to be careful about the structure of our soil in terms of how it's going to affect the moisture that is retained inside it. So to recap, I genuinely believe that water is the most underrated and most important input for plants. We learned about nutrients in solution, and we learned about soil microbiology and how it's affected by moisture. And I'm not saying that the other inputs aren't super important. We know that we need sunlight, we know that we need nutrients, we know that we need oxygen, and we know that we need soil in some cases, or in most cases, we need soil. But as we've learned today, the other inputs don't matter very much if the moisture, the water isn't present. So if you'd like to learn more, subscribe to our channel and like this video. If you disagree with anything, let us know in the comments and we'll try to get back to you. But if you want to see future videos, we're going to explain how our pond works, all of our regenerative practices here out on the property for growing plants and not using synthetic fertilizers. We'll catch you next time.